ordinarily when a reporter is arrested, it tends to be a bigger news story. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and a story that is sufficiently important that it has preempted the 1 hour I have on a sunny Saturday to go fishing alone, but it is important, so I'm going to do it. Now, yesterday, August 14th, as of the time of shooting this vlog, I was doing a live stream with Eric Hunley, who has a YouTube channel under his name, Eric Hunley, and a podcast called Unstructured, and with Kurt from Uncivil Law, where somebody asked me, am I going to cover the Millie Weaver story, or am I going to continue to shill for the NWO?
Viva, will you talk about Millie Weaver rather than shill for the New World Order? See, another thing, I don't know. Okay. Sometimes sarcasm translates badly via text, so I don't know if the shilling for the NWO is a joke or not. I don't know who Millie Weaver is. I have to take that as that was sort of like a humorous joke as opposed to an actual serious.
Okay.
I've been accused of many things. Shilling for the New World Order is not one of them.
Now, I suspect the shilling for the NWO was in fact intended to be a joke, but I didn't know who Millie Weaver was. I didn't know what the story was, so I had to look into it after the stream, and look into it I did. Now, Millie Weaver is a 29-year-old conservative who is also a journalist at InfoWars, and I appreciate there are going to be a lot of people out there who think that journalists and InfoWars are mutually incompatible. Everyone is going to have their opinion on the matter, but she is a journalist at InfoWars. She is also the mother of 2 young children, and yesterday she was arrested and apparently video recorded the incident of her arrest, and it made its rounds and went viral on social media. The video is about 1 minute and 50 seconds long. If I can find a link, I'm going to link it right here so you can watch it for yourselves.
221's out here. We have room to transport 1. Can you send us a car, please? 9107 Yale Road. I will give you all your paperwork when we get to the jail. Right now I need you to get some shoes.
Okay.
Because we need to get moving.
Well, this time you're not getting everywhere.
Guys, I don't know what's happening right now. The police have just showed up at my house, and they said that they're arresting me. They said that a grand jury indicted me for something. I have no idea what. Burglary? Yeah. For what?
Now, ordinarily, when journalists are arrested, it is a big news story. We all remember what happened when the journalist working at CNN was arrested live on air while covering the George Floyd protests. It made the rounds on news. But it seems that the mainstream media might be a little more mum on the issue when the journalist being arrested might be one of their ideological adversaries, or when they don't consider that person to be a journalist in the first place. So as is usually the case, when mainstream media doesn't report on something, it becomes a little bit more difficult to find information on that incident, and I read a bunch of articles on the incident, but I found one that seems to have as much information as is publicly available as of the time of shooting this vlog, August 15th, about 12:30 in the afternoon. From meaw.com, who is Millie Weaver? Why was she arrested ahead of Shadowgate release? Internet helps raise $13,000 of $20,000 by Jinutsa Basocia. In a shocking piece of news, investigative reporter Millie Weaver and her husband were arrested at their home. The arrest comes in the wake of her documentary release on the topic of the U.S., quote, shadow government, end quote, which was all set to be screened on YouTube, as she had teased in her last tweet. On August 11, 2020, she posted the trailer with the caption, quote, the Obamagate scandal only scratches the surface. This may be the biggest whistleblowing event to date, official trailer, Shadowgate, end quote. As per a USSA News report, her documentary Shadowgate was all set to tell the tale of 2 whistleblowers who claim that a secretive network of government and military insiders have backdoor access to intelligence agencies and information on elite personalities, including politicians, which would be used to blackmail powerful people. Now, according to the article, Millie is being charged with tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, and domestic violence, but according to the video that Millie put out, she was indicted on charges of burglary, and apparently she is being held without bond. Now, we are admittedly dealing with a paucity of information, and yes, that is a deliberate reference to one of my older vlogs. Paucity. And I admittedly know nothing of Millie Weaver. In fact, up until yesterday, I didn't know who she was. But I do find the combination of charges itself to be somewhat particular: domestic violence with obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, and alleged burglary. It kind of makes me think of the Julian Assange situation. In April 2010, Julian Assange publishes classified information about American military activity in Iraq and Afghanistan, and 6 months later, in November 2010, Sweden issues an international arrest and extradition warrant for Julian Assange on rape charges. So reading up on Millie Weaver, knowing what I know or not knowing what I know, I find the charge of domestic violence coupled with the obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence to be somewhat peculiar. I also find it peculiar that she's being held without bond given the nature of the charges, and Robert Barnes and I have talked about the Bond issue in multiple vlogs. Give those a watch. I'll try to link them if I can find them. But we have talked about the issue of Bond in the context of the Ghislaine Maxwell file. I find it very peculiar that she's being held without bond. And speaking of Robert Barnes and speaking of Julian Assange, Robert Barnes has a very interesting perspective on the burglary charges. What happened to Millie Weaver likely reflects local authorities weaponizing the theory in the Assange indictment, criminalizing journalism that obtains information from whistleblowers. This is why the Assange indictment threatens the First Amendment so dangerously. Now let me just preface this by saying that none of this is an affirmation as to the guilt or innocence of Millie Weaver. And the question of burglary as relates to publishing information that might have been provided by a whistleblower is in fact an interesting legal question as well. Although burglary is jurisdictionally dependent, typically it is defined as unlawful entry for the purposes of stealing something. Now you don't actually have to have succeeded in stealing anything. If you have unlawfully entered a place with the intent to steal, that is called burglary. Not knowing what Millie Weaver was about to publish, how she obtained the information she was about to publish, and without getting into the question of whether or not you consider her to be a bona fide journalist, charging journalists with burglary raises interesting questions and does in fact have a chilling effect on journalism. If a journalist breaks into a politician's office, steals a bunch of documents that they subsequently publish, that might be burglary. They may not be a journalist, they might in fact be a criminal, but the situation would probably be different if a whistleblower leaked those documents to the journalist. If a journalist disguises themselves or lies about who they are in order to gain access to a premises for the purposes of taking something, i.e. stealing it, that might in fact be burglary. We don't know the facts in this particular situation. All that we know is that this particular precedent sets a chilling effect for journalists out there. As far as I'm concerned, it still doesn't explain holding a 29-year-old mother of 2 young children in jail without bond, and from what I understand, Ezra Levant from Rebel Media has set up a GoFundMe account for people who want to help with Millie Weaver's upcoming legal fees. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. I will definitely be doing a follow-up on this as new details emerge, and I will definitely be talking about it with Robert Barnes during our live stream tomorrow. I'm going to link that live stream right here, so give it a watch. This is an important story and one to follow, but I've now got to get out of this car because I am sweating like an absolute beast. If you like my videos and you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm. If you want to support the channel, all of these support links are in the pinned comment. We've got PayPal, Subscribestar, Patreon, YouTube membership, merch. If you want to get some merch, my gosh, I can actually see through this. I'm sweating so hard.
Like a monster, look.
Oh, that smells good. Fresh basil.
You actually have sweat coming off your earlobe.
I have sweat coming off my earlobe. All right, with that said, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, and it's very spicy. Now you know your vlog. Peace out.